قامت إسرائيل ومعها العالم بقيام آلاف الهاكرز أو قراصنة الإنترنت.
Hackers gaining access to confidential.
Hackervorwürfe gegen Wikileaks-Gründer Julian Assange.
Actress Jennifer Lawrence was among several stars.
Cyber Week 2016 presents Preparing for the Next Threat. Can we build ecosystem resilience?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Ido Moed from the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs for chairing our previous session. So what we have lined up right now is what I personally think is our best session of the day, the session that you do not want to miss, in fact, because this is a session where I'll be presenting some of my ideas, but not just me. You'll be hearing from some of the hand-picked guests that I personally invited to Tel Aviv to present their ideas about ecosystem resilience, such an important topic that we've been hearing about a lot. What does it actually mean? And I want to give you my ideas about ecosystem resilience and why we need it. Once again, I think this should be our best session today, and we have quite a surprise lined up at the end of this session with a pretty punchy speaker who is almost as funny as he is brilliant, almost like a stand-up comedian. So, by the way, does anybody recognize this image? This is from one of my personal favorite films, Blade Runner, a science fiction movie depicting the future. And my question to you is, will this future be secure, and can we make it more secure? It is my personal opinion that by working together, we can secure that future ecosystem. And that's the vision that I want to present to you this morning. Let me just get rid of this, please. Right. So as you heard, my name is Keren Elazari, and I'm proud to be your host today, but I'm also a senior researcher here at the Blavatnik ICRC Center. And it is through my work that I keep questioning, what does the future of cybersecurity look like? This image, which maybe some of you know, is an image taken about 10 years ago. It is not an actual photograph, of course. Can anybody guess what it is a depiction of? This is the World Wide Web, about 10 years ago. It looks like an ecosystem, almost like a living organism. However, if I wanted to depict what today's connected internet, cyber-physical world might look like, I would have to come up with a much more complex image, perhaps something like our very own galaxy, the Milky Way. That is pretty much what our digital world looks like today. It is filled with black holes, meteors, and weird, strange planets that we have never visited. And as we think about the expansion of this digital world, just like our universe continuously growing, not just on the linear scale, but growing exponentially, it would be naive not to consider the security considerations of that exponential expanse. Take, for example, a tool that I like to use in my security research, Shodan.io. Shodan, like the black belt in karate. This is a search engine that can identify connected internet devices, not just computers or smartphones, but even power stations or wind turbines, internet-enabled toasters, web cameras. It's a tool created by a hacker called Achillean, or as his mother calls him, John Matherly. And I think it's a fantastic addition to the toolkit of friendly hackers out there that use this sort of mapping technology to help us understand this expanding galaxy that we live in. Don't we need all the help we can get to make sense of this new world of our ecosystem? I think we do. Consider software. New lines of code are being created every day by the hundreds of thousands. Some of your most popular apps and operating systems only have hundreds of thousands of lines of code. But what about the new operating systems? What about a modern car? Yesterday, we spoke about security in motion. Consider that a modern vehicle in 2016 has millions of lines of code, software that is built into a cutting-edge product that matters for personal safety and life and death. Wouldn't it be naive to expect a car company to make sense of all of that code? Especially if you consider that they don't actually make all of that code themselves. We already live in a connected ecosystem. Companies that make new products whether they are mobile applications, cars, or coffee machines, use software assembled from parts made by different companies, third parties, different nations. This is the issue of supply chain or software supply chain we often hear about. So with this supply chain, don't we need more people to help us find the issues? As you know, personally, I've always been inspired by friendly hackers. In fact, the woman that first led me to fall in love with the hackers world is somebody you might recognize, Angelina Jolie. 20 years ago, she portrayed a young, fierce hacker called Acid Burn. I was 14 at the time, but when I saw that movie, I fell in love with the idea of friendly hackers that can be the heroes. Today, that idea of hackers as heroes is becoming closer to a reality than ever before. As you heard this morning, 2 years ago, I presented my idea about hackers as the immune system for the information age on the international TED platform. I'm proud to say that idea has become viral into itself. And that means I wake up in the morning and I get messages from hackers all over the world: Africa, Southeast Asia, North America, Europe, Japan. And these hackers write to me and they say, yes, we want to be a part of the solution. We're not just a part of the problem. So how can hackers act as that immune system? How can they make us all build a more defended future for everybody? In the past year, I've taken upon myself a research project to look at how hackers are helping us defend against the real bad guys. And guess what? These bad guys are not criminals or nation-state spies, no. These bad guys might not have a face, but they have a name. And that names sometimes could be Heartbleed, for example, like the OpenSSL fundamental flaw that was discovered a few years ago. It might be a bug in USB technology. It might be a bug in Unix operating system, like the bash shell shock vulnerability. What is common to all of these fundamental software vulnerabilities is that they were not discovered by the people that make the software. In fact, they were reported by independent security researchers and hackers working for different teams around the world to identify problems in code. Now, in 2016, I like to say that life is just like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, especially when you assemble your code as a puzzle made up of different pieces. Wouldn't it be naive to inherently trust that code without testing it? Shouldn't we have all the help we can get by engaging with hackers that can help? As long as humans write code, we will have bugs. In fact, even when AI and robots write code, software vulnerabilities will pursue. We can debate how many software vulnerabilities we'll have in our future, but the reality is these are the real bad guys that we need to defend against, not independent hackers. That's why in my research work, I've been focusing on those hackers that engage in bug bounty programs. Bug bounty programs are not new. They've been around for more than 20 years. But in the past few years, they have evolved to really include some of the biggest companies in the world that you may have heard of. Companies like Uber, Western Union, Tesla. All of these organizations have learned to harness the power of friendly hackers to identify software vulnerabilities. Personally, I think it's a great way to make our ecosystem safer, but that's not the only story there. There are also personal stories. Perhaps you know this guy, Nir Goldschlager. Nir, are you in the room today? Oh, he's right there. Well, Nir happens to be one of the hackers that manages to hack Facebook all the time. In fact, Facebook has announced him year after year as one of the top 5 and top 3 hackers. But Facebook does not pursue criminal charges against Nir. In fact, they reward him for his efforts, because Nir is one of the Israeli security researchers that have helped Facebook and anybody that uses Facebook be safer by contributing to their bug bounty program, one of the biggest bug bounty programs in the world. Facebook is not the only company doing this. Most technology giants are now harnessing that power of friendly hackers, which is why 2016 is a good year to take a look at what's happened in bug bounty programs and ask, how can we derive more value from such programs in the future? Innovative companies such as Tesla bring their flagship cars out to DEF CON, the world's largest convention of hackers, so that they can engage with the security research community. And that's what we're also doing this year at Tel Aviv with the B-Sides Security Hacker Community event Wednesday. Even the Pentagon has recently announced a bug bounty program actively inviting hackers to show them how they can be better and safer. So hackers are not just the bad guys out there. And in fact, these programs represent a lot of value for the companies that run them. And that is a specific question that I've been asking myself in the past year and looking at with my research. Here are just a few early insights from what I've discovered. Security researchers that engage in bug bounties help companies find more bugs faster. Security researchers and companies that engage in bug bounties raise awareness, media attention, and create better reputation for themselves and for the companies when they engage in bug bounty programs. And here's the most unexpected phenomena of them all. Bug bounty programs are creating a potentially huge impact on the future workforce of cybersecurity. This is because people from new parts of the world that have never before been legitimately rewarded for security research work are now engaging in a new global ecosystem protection effort, bug bounty programs. This is data just from one program, the Google program. And if you use Google products, guess what? Friendly hackers are already making you safer. Friendly hackers not just from Europe or North America or Israel, but also from Africa, the Middle East, and the Far East and Southeast Asia. So that is my wake-up call for you today, opening our session thinking about ecosystem and ecosystem resilience. Hackers are not always the enemies, and it takes adaptability to think differently, to go beyond our limitations and engage with those people that we usually are afraid of. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. And now